All right, I'm here with Blake Tinkle of Keller Williams. Blake's been in the industry a few years now. Am I right in saying that?
Yes, you are.
And as everybody knows, this podcast, we're out to figure out what makes top producing agents top producing, what separates the top 10% of the top 20% from the rest of the pack. Why is it that agents only last 6 months and some guys are in it for 18, 20 years? And so I know you got your start a little bit different than most agents, which is finding renters apartments. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah. So my a little less traditional and how I got into real estate. Funny story, actually, like slipped, stumbled, fell my way into real estate.
Okay.
I moved down, graduated from OU, moved down to Dallas after accepting a job in consulting.
Mm-hmm.
And 6 weeks in, started my first big boy job, moved into an apartment and everything, and got the call while I was in Houston saying, hey, we don't need you anymore. It's like, all right.
How long after?
6 weeks,
6 weeks.
after I started.
Excellent.
Yeah, got
Nice.
laid off.
Yep.
That was a depressing flight back to Dallas for sure, and was unemployed for a little bit, looking around, and this apartment locating agency had an office by my apartment. It was walking distance, and they blasted on social media that they were doing open interviews.
Okay.
So went over there, and because I had kind of a corporate background, they were looking for somebody to be in business development. So joined that role, and they sponsored me to get my license, got it started in apartment locating, and that's where I really started building kind of my career in real estate by helping people find apartments, which is kind of a interesting segment of the industry that's not in every city.
No, and quite honestly, most agents I know that do that do not last long at all because there's arguably no money in it.
What's funny is I hear that a lot, and man, I guess I was just really fortunate that I did very well, but it was a volume game, right? Like I'm trying to think if comparing commissions, like selling a house, even like, a $300,000 house or something, you need to lease a pretty expensive apartment.
Right.
Because most of the time what they're going to do is pay like 100% of 1 month's rent. But if you're leasing...
That's your commission. Yeah, tell us how that works. Because, obviously everyone knows the 3%, 6% rule, normal real estate. So in apartment finding...
Yeah, so apartments, it's set by the management company, and it can be property specific.
Okay.
Typically based on where they're at in
And you're
the
bringing
lease-up.
your client to the management company.
Correct.
All right.
Yes, so they pay a commission to locators because we're considered an extension of their advertising budget. So that's what it comes from. So, they really don't like us saying free in this industry, right? But it's at no cost to the client finding them a place, but that property pays the bill for my services.
How do you make sure that you get that? Because they could, if I'm an apartment manager, I'm a little slimy, I can think, well, yeah, Blake brought me this guy, but I'll just call him later and say, hey, get rid of Blake, I'll cut you a little bit of a deal so I don't have to pay him a whole month.
Oh man, yeah, that's a little less on the, I'll cut him a deal, but more so I actually just ran into this last week. Relationships are super important. It's not uncommon, right? You find out there's only so much quality control you have because I'm not filling out the application for the client. And the way that I get paid is when they go tour. If I'm with them, then clearly I brought them to the property. But if I'm not with them, letting them know, hey, I'm working with Blake Tinkle from X agency, or in this case, Keller Williams. And on their application, there'll be a spot that says, how did you hear about us? And normally there's a drop-down menu that'll let you select locator or type my name in. And when they see that and I send the invoice with only details that I should know about my client, like as far as their move date, what their rate is, their unit number, all that, then they'll look and say, okay, locator service, we can pay this invoice. Now, occasionally you run into maybe that person's working with multiple locators because you don't have a buyer rep agreement on the apartment locating side.
You're a locator.
Yeah.
And did your invoice come through your broker?
Yes, so...
Your it's got the KW letterhead as the invoice too.
Yes. It's been interesting because the last year has really been where my income was dominantly residential sales. Before then, it was apartment locating.
Okay.
So previous agencies, they had full-time invoicing departments where this person was calling saying, hey, we got locator, this invoice, this person moved in this day, can you confirm the details? We're going to send you this invoice, and they would chase our money down. When I came over to KW, it was like, oh, you got to do that yourself. So that was an adjustment for me. And man, I think I ended last year with quite a bit in my receivables, but Kirsty has been doing an amazing job helping me with following up with these properties, letting me know, hey, we got this check in. But yes, long-winded way to answer your question of, it's got the KW letterhead on it. I put the, all the client's information, and then please send payment to the office. So.
And again, that is a very different approach to getting into real estate, because a lot of people I know, they'll hear this. A lot of agents will hear, okay, yeah, I can make money doing the apartment location, the rental type things, and they get in it and they just can't drum up the business. And if they're only making a few $100s or even first month's rent or whatever it is on each one, a lot of them just can't get enough in the door to really justify staying in the business. What did you do to get that many? Because it's volume. You said it's volume. So what did you do to get that much volume?
Yeah. So at my first agency, they just have an astronomical advertising budget, and they were the biggest presence for apartment locating in.
And you're working for them at that time.
Yeah, that's where I started out.
Their brand.
They're blasting out their brand. So they were just feeding us.
With them through,
yeah, they were just feeding us leads. And so it never really dawned on me to build my own book of business and really hunt down referrals.
Because they were just being fed.
Because they were just being fed.
But they're taking a big haircut for you.
Yeah, they were taking a decent chunk of those commissions. And then I switched to another agency where it was a little bit better for getting my own referrals. But by the time I had spent 3 years taking those leads, building those relationships, I fortunately already had a pretty decent book of business, and then switched over to my second agency where I was able to dabble a little bit more in residential, and they would still give us leads, but if it was on your own referral, you would get a little bit bigger cut.
Okay.
So we were incentivized at that point to kind of start building our own business, and then.
And you maintain your own book of business now, obviously, as an independent realtor.
Yeah.
Everyone asks the question, how do you get new people? Two, how do you keep the same people calling you instead of the other 15 realtors that they see on Facebook every day?
Yeah, that's that's one of those that you're always, I think your answer to that is always like, you've got your staple things that you do, and then it's always kind of evolving how to get better at that. But until I switched to Keller Williams, I didn't even know what a CRM was.
Okay.
No joke.
Yeah.
So I was always focusing on just the clients in front of me that needed the lease, and I was really leaving it up to chance as to whether or not somebody reached out again saying they needed my help, because I had already forgotten for the most part. It was just.
What CRM do you use?
I use Command now that I'm here.
And that's a KW product.
That is a KW product.
Because we use Follow Up Boss.
Okay.
Kind of like Zoho, kind of like the rest of them.
Yeah.
And Maddie runs that exclusively. I don't touch it. I don't know what's going on. But her and I built together this program where it's when I get a business card from an agent, because I'm advertising to agents.
Yeah.
But it'd be the same principle reverse. You're advertising to a client. I get a card for them with their information. We just followed Ninja Selling. So for the first 6 weeks, we touch them once a week for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And then the 7th week, it's much more personal. So it's either Lewis calls them, which I suck at, I didn't get better at. But, we send them a YouTube video, we text them, we email them, and there's one of those per week.
Okay.
We find them on Facebook, we friend them. And so for 6 weeks straight, this agent just keeps getting element inspection.
So getting some subconscious reminding.
They just liked my post. Lewis is out doing something. I just found Lewis's social media. He's on my mountain bike, wheeling, whatever I'm doing.
Yeah.
And, but that was game changing for us.
Okay. That makes sense. And that's what, honestly, coming here and being in this culture and being around agents, then I developed a follow-up system.
Yeah.
Like, okay, who is my sphere? Identifying who's my sphere, who are the clients that if I call them, they're gonna be like, oh, Blake, yeah. So defining that, and then having, where I'm following up every, we kind of have kind of a quarterly thing, but they're getting a call from me, or a text, just checking in. I also have it where I've got reminders before their lease is up. I also have reminders before 6 months.
That right there, that's key.
Yeah, because then it's, hey, how are you liking the place?
Mm-hmm.
How's it been? Would you like some help shopping around again? But I also started touching base with them about 6 months before their lease ends. Just be like, hey, have you thought about buying?
Right.
Like, what have you thought about what that could look like? And just seeing what their goals are on that front.
One of my insurance agents that handles all the commercial and liabilities for the inspection business.
Yeah.
At month 10, he's saying, hey, we're up for renewal soon. At month 11, he's like, all right, we're shopping for a new policy.
Mm-hmm.
And he makes it almost just so easy. I'm not going to go find another agent because he calls me 10 months, calls me month 11. And then halfway through month 11, he goes, all right, I shopped the policies. Here's the best rate. This policy that you had is still the best, but I found 2 more that you might be interested in.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, okay.
Well, when you're providing value like that, it's
Yeah,
like, well,
and so there's no point for me to go shop elsewhere.
you already
look for
made this so
another agent.
easy.
Yeah. And he's made it so easy for me, and I just go, that one. He goes, all right, and he binds them, gets them all done, and goes, all right, just send a check to this address, and we're done. And then he collects his commission off of it, obviously, but he knows, and he's, right in line. And I have essentially no option unless I want to go out and shop it myself or find a new agent.
Find somebody else that you like.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Because he takes care of me.
Yeah.
So I'm done.
Same concept.
Yeah.
And my story is a little interesting compared to, I guess, more of the traditional route, because they're constantly saying listings, go get listings. Well, I have such a database of renters and first-time buyers that's really, at least in this phase of Blake Tinkle real estate, you could say, is a lot of buyers and a lot of education around first-time buyers.
That's why we use our inspection service so much, right?
Indeed,
buyers,
exactly. It's been great, super helpful, and because you've got a lot of high stress during that, and they see something deficient, what is going on.
Yep.
So, yes, who you're in business with matters, and who can help walk through that process in a comfortable, yet hey, this is going on, but not the end of the world. We got a GFCI outlet out, not here.
Right. It's not that big a deal.
Yeah, exactly. So that's really been my focus is a lot of those first time buyers, and really helping people kind of grow into this idea of home ownership as they start thinking, you know what, I'm spending a lot of money a month on rent and getting no return for it. So it's been awesome kind of helping as people graduate. I've got some clients right now that've got a baby on the way, and I have the opportunity of, hey, you guys, they need more space. Right. Have we thought about school districts, things like that? Now we've got them under contract on a house, and we're thinking, this is the next 5-6 year house. So that's very much where a lot of my bread and butter in my business has been.
I mean, to me, it sounds like you've built a 20-year set of a book of business, basically.
That's the goal.
Because you're getting them on, the first chapter of adulthood life when you're
just graduated from school.
Yeah. They need an apartment, right?
Yep.
And then after that, they might need either a nicer rent house or they might want to buy a house or whatever it is. So you've got them from the first time they're paying their own bills. Yeah. And 20, maybe 40 years down the road, you can still have the same clients.
Exactly.
So that's incredible.
It's awesome, and it helps forge such really good relationships there too, because then it's something that we've talked about here at Keller Williams a lot, where it's not just a transaction, it's how many homes do you have under management, and really being the real estate consultant, the advisor, hey, real estate, I got my guy.
Blake. Yep.
Yeah,
call Blake.
So it kind of helps build that as being a fundamental piece.
And there's one common trait. There's a lot of common traits, and that's what we're figuring out here with this show. And one common trait that I see every single one of them experience is their clients get the white glove treatment from the time they meet until they're in the house and years after. And that's what seems, so one top producing agent I know, he will call me and be like, Lewis, I just looked at the inspection report. This house is a piece of crap. I'm gonna put you on a 3-way call with my client, and you're gonna convince them that we don't need to buy this house. Because I've already told them it's bad, I need you to help me. I don't want them buying this house. And in my mind I'm going, man, you can make this sale, they want to buy the house, but he has earned the book of business because he tells them, this is a piece of crap, I don't want you going into this house. I don't want to hear from you in 5 years and get that taste in your mouth that, he put me in a crap house. Yeah. Right? And so everyone he treats with that level of, no, we're going to find the best house for you. And then as the years go by, I'm going to help you with this house. Yeah. And every single client goes, this is amazing, and they give his name out to their other clients, and then when they need to sell the house, they call him immediately.
Well, it's because when you put the relationship first, that speaks volumes, and you're genuinely looking out for their best interest. Because sure, you could absolutely say, oh yeah, you want this house. And then
he could have made that sale. Yeah. Literally, that we were on the 8th day of a 10-day option, and he could have just said, it's fine. And then they would have been locked in, and 90% chance that they close the deal and he collects his check and goes on with his life.
But that's one time, it kind of comes back to this mindset of that's immediate satisfaction. But if you can put aside that immediate satisfaction, you're going to get so much more down the road. And you've built a better relationship. You're going to have a happier homeowner, and you're setting them up for better success.
He would not have that 20-year client like you're building.
If he was just a quick commission check, yeah,
it doesn't work that way.
100%.
Now switching from, because this, I mean, truly, it's a different way of doing it that I think a lot of younger agents that are watching this are going to think to themselves, well, that's a different way to get some really just cash flow going as you can build into ultimately what most agents want, which is listing and buying homes. So that transition, what did that look like? How did you go from the rat race of look at this, okay, good, sign the paper, let's move on. I got to keep turning these because you really do to make money. Now it's spending way longer with every client.
Yeah, and it's interesting how my book of business has shifted, right? Like last year I did a whole lot of apartments, each quarter or each month I was doing a whole lot more than I am now, but I'm also doing more residential, which, as you said, is more time consuming. So they're a bit more sporadic. But I'd say it was kind of, one, I had to take a mindset shift to be able to switch over, and not that this is, Keller Williams commercial, but the titans and the powerhouses that we have in this office and being able to lean on their expertise. They would probably say about me, oh, Blake, he'll be the first one to ask for help, because I'm the type, one, my clients are trusting me to get this done. If there's something that I don't know, I would never in a million years want to misinform. So let me lean on the powerhouses that I've got here to find that information out for you. And I just had to get more confident in myself. With apartment locating, you get your license, all the contract stuff out the window. You don't need it.
Right.
None of it's important because the lease agreement is between the person and that property. So sure, I know a lot about the application process. I know a lot about how to break a lease, all of that good stuff. But the ins and outs and earnest money and option fee being due and how an inspection worked, none of that was retained. Being in apartment locating. So I kind of had to lean on the expertise of those around me and also get confident in, hey, I've done this, I know this, and really kind of build that up. But I would say that would be one of the biggest shifts, was just, okay, you got to relearn the basics and be able to guide through these legally binding contracts.
Good answer.
Long-winded probably, but yeah, it was a big mindset shift there.
With mindset shifts as you grow, anyone that's seen this before knows I read, listen to podcasts. I'm always developing new, or listening and learning, because you never know everything, right?
That's the truth.
And another common theme is leaders are readers, readers are leaders. People that are always absorbing information tend to do better. I saw a study. It was a direct correlation to how many books an entrepreneur read compared to the income that they made. And people that read, I believe it was over 14 books a year, have an almost guaranteed chance of making six figures or more.
Wow, that's impressive.
And their books usually tailored to a business.
That makes sense.
But the guy that says I know it all never really succeeds. The guy that says I know nothing is always absorbing. Tends to succeed.
Yeah.
Keller Williams has great training, but where else do you go to get that information, to get that constant? Because I know you're always wanting to absorb.
Absolutely. I listen to a lot of podcasts, real estate podcasts, investing podcasts, and things. I read business books. I'm actually reading one that's kind of fun right now. It's called How to Be Confident by James Smith. Okay. And I was attracted to him because he's a personal trainer, and I like a lot of his views on fitness and dieting and things, because he's just a no BS kind of guy. Right. And so I'm reading How to Be Confident right now. Of course, there's always like the Atomic Habits and the 7. What is it? How to Win Friends and Influence People. I've read those. The Never Split the Difference, and those absolutely come in handy. I am an avid fiction reader as well. I like to use my imagination. But yeah, I would say I get a lot of my information from watching videos. And
I love YouTube.
Podcasts, YouTube University, man.
The unfortunate thing with the YouTube, though, the algorithm now just directs me to all this crap. Where I see
a lot of cars on my YouTube.
Yeah, it pushes that towards me. But now I've realized I got to go out of my way to find more of the educational content.
Yeah.
Whereas it used to realize what I liked watching and feed me some of that.
Yeah.
But now it's like, hey, look at this girl driving a Jeep. Oh, all right. I mean, you know,
Well, hey, that's cool.
and it constantly just feeds that to you. And I'm like, no, I was learning about something over here. Why'd you take me there?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, YouTube University is a real thing, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, you can learn so much.
100%, man. And I mean, that's a big one. The resources that we've got here. Anytime there's an opportunity to learn like market updates and things, I try to just absorb, because I feel like kind of a limiting belief. I don't think of myself as a huge numbers or stats guy.
Right.
So I'm always trying to get brushed up on that and be like, oh, you know this stuff, you know, and get familiar with it. But I would say podcasts, any opportunity for a class, the videos that we have each week are really kind of how I focus on growing and learning.
I can walk into a room full of agents. I mean, as you know, you've been to the sales meetings where I'm a sponsor.
Mm-hmm.
I bring in the tacos. I do my little spiel.
Great tacos, by the way.
Yeah.
Love those.
Thank Maddie for ordering them. I bring in the tacos. I do my little spiel, and then inevitably people come up to me. I can almost guarantee the person that will not be here 6 months from now is the person that walks up to me and tells me all the things that are wrong with my business. They have no...
People do that?
Constant.
That's some gumption, man.
It's incredible. It's a regular thing. Or they just
Wow.
call me to tell me what's wrong with my business. And it's the same person that has done that their entire life. They tell people everything that's wrong with their life, everything that's wrong with their relationship, everything that's wrong with someone else's business. And you look at their history, and they've bounced around 7 different careers in the last 5 years. This is the new thing, and they're going to tell everybody what they're doing wrong, based strictly on their preconceived notion, not going out and learning.
Yeah.
And so when I walk into a room, I can instantly tell the people, as soon as they say something that's not, some people will give me constructive criticism. Like,
Okay.
hey, we were on your website trying to book something, and this little glitch happened. Great,
That's
we'll get that
that's
resolved.
good to know.
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah.
But when they tell me something about the business that they don't really understand, you know, okay, well, it's a different world, it's whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know, I've been doing this long enough, I know what to do. Thank you, but please move on.
Yeah.
Right.
I appreciate that unsolicited, uninvited feedback and
And
criticism.
those are the people consistently that I walk back into the room 1 quarter later, they might be there. 2 quarters later, they're not in the room anymore. And then that manager tells me, oh yeah, they left 2 months ago. They never sold a single house.
Man.
And it's that mindset of if you know everything, you're gonna fail. If you have that mindset that I don't know anything, I'm always taking it in, a lot of times well, it's like, I'm sure with you in the gym, you get to a certain point, and you're like, I could do better than that, I could get the time better, or weight higher, or whatever it is.
Yeah. And that's, I love working out because it's kind of an analogy for life, and that's what I love about being self-employed and in real estate. Is it's like, if I get better at life, I become better for my clients, my business gets better. So it's awesome to kind of be in the business of like, if I just keep growing, everything else grows.
Right.
And if my clients succeed, I succeed, which is that's pretty legit, that it's not success based on somebody else's detriment. But with working out, it's kind of that idea and that mentality of, you know, there's always room for improvement. There's always room to grow. And I would say kind of like for somebody starting out in the weight room, just like in real estate, if you come in knowing, okay, I've got, you know, right now that 15-pound dumbbell is doing the same thing for me right now that 35-pound is doing for that guy.
Right. Exactly.
And it's knowing, okay, let me get real good at this. All of a sudden that 20 is going to get easier. Just like in real estate, it's like, hey, you know what, I might need to learn a little bit here.
To a couple of clients to now a pretty big book.
Yeah.
And it seems so manageable now, but if Blake from a few years ago slinging an apartment saw this, it's like, holy smokes.
Yeah. You know what? And it's funny, I was in my car the other day thinking about this, listening to a podcast. I was like, there are times where I catch myself kind of wanting to wish myself there, right? Like, oh, I already have a team and already be putting up the numbers that I want. But when I look back at my career and the things that I've learned, man, skipping, it's almost like that movie Click. If I skip all that and get there, there were so many foundational aha moments. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
Kate Beckinsale, man. Yeah. But it's like I can't, that time and the things learned in building that are so essential. You can't get there with no foundation. So I was like, hold on. I just need to, sometimes I tell myself, step back, enjoy the ride, absorb, and soak in everything, because those are the foundational building blocks to get to where you want to be.
There's 3 things that I legitimately put in my calendar. And Maddie, who works for me, she knows that these are vitally important to me. A certain number of office hours every week.
Okay.
And then every day, I got about an hour reserved for walking my dog, and about 2 hours reserved for working out.
There you go.
And that's a huge chunk of my day.
Yeah, that's
Right.
because you're talking like what, 4 to 6 hours there,
Yeah.
depending on your office time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that really doesn't leave that much time for me to do what a lot of people waste their time on, quite honestly.
Yeah.
Which is that, those $10 an hour activities, constantly updating their Instagram because they think that's going to lead them so much business. And it does in a way, if you do it right,
Yeah.
that can be very productive. But
Yeah.
if you're just constantly just messing with it, changing little things, obviously not. Same with the website. But
Yeah.
those, I have to put those in there. And I have found that time that I block off and I have to do yields so much free time later
Mm-hmm.
for me to have those big picture thoughts and those $10,000 an hour ideas.
Yeah.
And I know, working out is huge to you. It's big to me. I think when you find someone that works out regularly, you find someone that's okay with delayed gratification. They have the resilience. A lot of people understand the difference between motivation and discipline, which
Mhm.
I get motivated to push to new heights in the gym a few times a year.
Yeah.
But I also get so unmotivated that I don't want to go to the gym sometimes. But
Yeah.
the discipline takes me to that minimum threshold that I have to hit every single week, which is I got to be in the gym 5 days a week.
Mhm.
I got to do it, even if I just drag myself in there and I barely put the effort in. I'm there. I did it. I did it 5 days.
You
a
showed
week.
up.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Later, when the motivation is back, I might be hitting some really heavy weights.
Yeah.
But I think people that work out really have. Obviously, I'm in favor of this.
No bias, right?
Yeah, no. But you learn the difference between discipline and motivation, and you get motivated to grow your book of business, right?
Mhm.
But you lose that eventually with different seasons of life, and
Right.
then you have to keep that discipline to say, I got to call 20 people a week to keep this book going. When you're motivated, you might call 40 or 50 people in that week, cold calling, whatever it is you're doing. But that motivation, and I know you experience the same thing, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's because if you discipline, like you said, everybody knows discipline's going to outweigh motivation because motivation is going to wane. But if it becomes a discipline, it becomes routine. I was experiencing this just the other day. I was nice and well caffeinated, sat down for my calls. It was like, yeah, this is going to be great.
Yeah.
Got done with my 4th call, leaving a voicemail. I was like, the heck am I doing right now? I had to refocus and recenter myself, and was like, you know what? For every few voicemails that I'm circling back with, and it's something I'm learning too, like circling back with clients I haven't talked to in years, and that's on me. But going back and just being like, hey, I'm not sure if you remember me or not, but we worked on your apartment search. Wanted to invite you to the home buying workshop. If you're still living in the area, I'd love to reconnect. There for every 10 of those voicemails I leave and never get a call back, I have someone like, wait a second, you're still in real estate? You sell houses now? And get to have kind of that conversation of like, yeah, well, tell me, are you renting? Did you buy something? Where are you at? And kind of focus on building that relationship. So it's like, I know there are results from that. If I keep chipping away at this, I'm going to get them.
And that's the discipline right there. The motivation is always in the background, whether it's like right there or not.
Yeah, that coffee was hitting right there. I was ready to go, and then you hit a wall.
That's that discipline. And
pushes
it's like
you over.
when people tell me, and it equates to everything, oh, I don't have time for the gym. Well, that's why you're fat. I'm sorry, but that's why you're fat, because you didn't prioritize it.
Yeah.
Same thing with your business. I don't have time to make all those calls. You didn't put it in your calendar. You didn't say, no, I'm skipping out on that, whatever that is. I'm doing this.
Yeah.
The discipline of it. So your business, your fitness, all these things require that discipline.
They do, and
that honestly separates you and this group of top producers from that person that wants to feed me the bullcrap information and is out of the game in 6 months.
Yeah, and I think that discipline also, I haven't fully fleshed this thought out, but there's a resiliency that comes with that, and in this industry, you need resiliency.
Yeah.
The quicker you can get over the losses, the better.
Now, I know you're recently married, right?
I am, yeah.
Okay. When did that happen?
That happened, so I had 2 weddings, actually, kind of, sort of. we had a legal ceremony that was just immediate family, and then we had our more like ceremonial ceremony in Mexico.
All right.
Because we knew there were some grandparents that would travel, and also getting legally married in Mexico, you have to do like blood tests. You have to be there for 2 weeks, and it's like, dude, we could step away from our jobs for 2 weeks to just be like, hey, we want to get legally married here. So yeah, we got married twice, but the ceremonial ceremony was November 6th of last year.
Okay, yeah, quite recent.
Yeah.
Now you and your wife, you got to balance. Everyone has to balance family time, work.
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like for y'all? Do y'all escape together, go travel, go exploring? I know you were just in Broken Bow recently.
Yeah. Which thank you for the pointers, by the way.
I love that there.
You know, this is something that's kind of ever evolving for me and for us as we're kind of going through this, because I know I'm the type, I really have to, it's hard for me sometimes to turn off from work because my clients have my personal cell phone number, right? And maybe I'll stress about something about a deal, or, you know, I'm constantly on my phone. It's not the Instagram, it's that I'm responding to people or responding to emails, and my wife will call me out. She'll say, hey, we're cooking dinner right now. So that's something that I've had to really keep on the forefront of, like, man, if I'm not spending my time here, then the success over here doesn't mean anything. But if she doesn't stick around, then what am I doing all this for?
Someone to share the success with.
Exactly. So we're just very intentional, and that's something that's kind of constantly ever evolving. Like recently we started doing this thing where maybe after a closing or something, she puts up with me working late hours sometimes or getting home late. It's like, hey, let's find a nice steakhouse. We're gonna hunt for the best filet mignon in Dallas. And it's not like we're going spending $10,000 on the dinner, but it's a fun way to kind of treat ourselves of, hey, thanks for putting up with everything that I do to get this across the closing table. Let's go out and kind of enjoy ourselves for having done that. So that's been that's something we kind of look forward to. The quick weekend getaway. We can make all the excuses in the world as to why we couldn't get away for a weekend, and we finally just said, let's do it, and it was 100% worth it and amazing. And we're always like, why don't we do this more often?
Right. I invite people, because I am always, I mean, if you follow my Instagram, it's almost exclusively Lewis in the woods.
Lewis in the wilderness.
Yeah, that's basically it's either me off-roading, on my bike, hiking, so whatever it is, I'm out in the wilderness. And it's really, really challenging to get my friends to get off their couch and come with me, wherever it is. I'm like, I got you, I'm driving, I got everything covered, just pay for your food along the way, I got everything done. Yeah. The ones that I finally drag out and come, they bug me for months after. Can we go do that again? Can we do that again?
Yeah.
And it's the same thing you're saying. Once you get off the dang couch, stop scrolling through your phone. And the other thing is, I put that stuff on Instagram, and I realize I'm the content creator. It's kind of bad, but I'm the content creator that they're scrolling through, going, "Oh man, I wish I was mountain biking." It's like, well, come, get out and do stuff.
It's fair, man. It's pretty wild how it's so easy to get caught up in, or me, like I'll use work as an excuse not to go do something. Like, oh well, what if some showings come up? And it's like, you know what? I don't have any showings that day.
But what if you didn't go explore? That's the more scary question for me.
Yeah.
What if I sat? Because people always say, "What if you break your truck?" I'm like, I can fix it. What if I sat on my couch? That's the scariest thing in the world to me.
Yeah, that's fair. And you know what's funny is, like, Lauren and I also really appreciate our downtime. Like in our old age, but like sometimes nice time together is just, we'll make dinner. She clocks out at 6. I'll wrap up my text. We'll make dinner, and then we call it checking up on the firm. But we've been really into suits lately. So let's check on the firm. Yeah. And so that's sometimes how we spend our evenings, but that's our opportunity to recharge, and then still spend time together with making the meal. I wouldn't say that screen time is the best quality time, right? But sometimes that's where our energy levels are at and what we enjoy doing. So, but to go back to your point of the exploration, or I don't believe in the couch sitting just to kill time, or especially if there's something that you know you should be doing. It's like, dude, go out and explore. You might learn something. You might figure out you really enjoy something. So I'm with you there.
I know many successful realtors and many successful entrepreneurs, when they finally get in the groove of being a truly successful business person, they take an enormous amount of time to travel. That was a really cool Corvette that drove by.
That sounded like it. Hey.
I had to.
And we have an affinity for cars.
Yeah, there you go.
No, it's true, and I think at least that's what I know. That's like what I aspire to, right? Is if you built this business, the eventual goal, at least for me, is to get some of my time back. Because right now it's
Yes.
I need to be out showing the homes. I need to be at the inspection, but eventually you get to a point where you get your time back, and you've got people and systems in place to run when you're not there. Then I think that it's about you build that so that then you can enjoy the life that you want to the level that you want. And I think just like your very successful entrepreneurs that it's like they want to travel where they want to go when they want, and they've got the things in place to be able to do that. They've got their time back.
Yes.
They're living life on their terms and not someone else's.
I know the two categories. The one guy that has a successful business, but the business is him, he is the business. He lives to work, not the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
You need to work to live, I think. Some people just want to work, and I get it, fine. But
That's fair.
It's not for me.
Yeah.
But I do know the guys that work to live.
Mm-hmm.
And their life is fantastic, and they've figured out how to be successful but not be a slave to their own business.
Yeah, and I think that I'm very much in the stages now where I'm still figuring that out. There's still a bit of growth to go, but I know that's the overarching.
Well, with
goal.
that, how old are you, and how long did it take to go from jumping into the apartments to actually where you are here now?
Oh man, I got licensed. This is my 7th year in real estate. 3rd year doing residential, but mind you, my 1st year I think I did 2 transactions.
Okay.
My 2nd year in residential I did 6. I
Okay.
thought that was awesome, but I leased 150 people in apartments.
All right.
So and then last year I had so close, man. I had one that just went over to the new year, but I did 14 residential deals last year, and then probably about 80 apartments. So there was more of a shift because more of my time was the residential.
Right.
But yeah, 3 years solid of apartment locating, and was very fortunate to be. 4 years of solid apartment
Just
locating.
80
basically.
on its own is still a lot. Even I realize it's not 150 like you were doing before, but just
Yeah.
80 apartments is a lot.
Yeah, and it's I think that the mindset shift as I've been really focused on building the book of business. That's 80 potential relationships. Then it used to be kind of a volume game of, what are you looking for? Send it to them. Let me know how it goes. And when I started focusing on, hey, maybe this is an apartment lease, but I've got the bandwidth right now. I'll go meet them for a tour or two.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, I'm the stranger that's been texting about places to live. That's one of my running jokes.
Right, yeah.
Make it some FaceTime, but still a lot of opportunities for relationships there and to become that real estate advisor.
So 7 years in the business, and how old are you?
I'm 29.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you started younger,
I did.
and that I think is also helpful, because a lot of people like to work with people their same age.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure you got a lot of business with people that are in that growth pattern, just like you are.
Yeah. That a lot
That's
of.
what I'm talking about. That 20-year book of business.
Yeah. It might not mean a lot of listings right now from that source, but down the road.
That source 10 years from now is going to have a lot of listings.
When it's time to move. Hey, Blake, we're having another baby.
Right.
Or you know what? We're ready to get out of Dallas County and
suburbs. Yep.
Things a bit more relaxed. So that's really the foundational setup that I'm taking right now, and how I approach my business is helping my peers as they grow.
Very cool. Any words of wisdom, key takeaways for an agent starting out that's a little depressed about their most recent choice?
Oh man, I would say if working out isn't it, find something that is an outlet that will also help with your mental toughness. It doesn't have to be physical, but work on that mindset, build that discipline so that when the motivation runs out, there will be times where you'll have a deal that punches you in the face.
Right.
And the faster that you can get over that, they shut me out of the contract, or that initial anger or being upset there, the quicker you can get over that and say, you know what, on to the next, let's go, is going to really help set you up for success. And just be patient. And that's something I even remind myself of is, hey, wasn't all built in a day. Just be patient, enjoy the ride, and remember the lessons as you go.
There you go. And enjoy the time as it goes by as you're building this.
Yeah, because that's where all the learning is.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
Yeah.
I thank you for your time.
Of course, man. Thank
I
you so much
enjoyed
for
it.
having me on.
Absolutely.
This has been a pleasure, and also feel like it's been awesome just getting to know you better.
Absolutely. All right, guys. I'll see you in the next one.
Thanks guys.